Hello, welcome back to New Rockstars Debrief. I'm Erik Voss. Joining me today are Sam Bashor.
Hello, that is my voice.
Filup Molina.
And this is mine.
And our special guest, Samm Levine from DC Daily.
Hello. Well, hello. Thank you. It's so nice to be here.
Thank you
So
for
nice
joining
to
us.
We're big fans.
Oh, very sweet of you.
Yes. And
I don't believe you.
Okay.
prove him wrong, Bill.
Yeah.
We got a big DC episode today. We're going to be talking about Shazam and the Joker trailer. We're also going to cover some news about the fate of Dr. Erik Selvig in Avengers Endgame.
Oh my God. What? Is he okay?
Is he okay? Please tell me he's okay. And updates on the new Terminator movie that's in the works. And Kumail Nanjiani potentially joining the MCU.
Was the Terminator tease a question?
Terminator movie? Well,
I'm
it's like-
Ron Burgundy.
Just
Yeah.
reading this for the first time.
It's just how many times are there going to be ones? Also, we're going to have an update later about a really exciting thing we're doing. We just crossed 2 million subscribers this
Yes.
morning.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. But part of our celebration is going to be a big live event that we're going to be doing where you guys will be there with us. It's Avengers related. That's a very hot ticket right now. A lot of you did not get your tickets. I'm just saying, stay tuned. We might have you, and maybe we have a ticket for you or something. Here in LA. I'm really excited to talk about it later in the show.
A reason to stick around.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal that we crossed 2 million subscribers. We've been waiting on this day. A lot of you have been great in the comments saying, oh, you're so close to 2 million and no other channel deserves it more than you guys. And thank you all for saying that. And thank you all for watching. Thanks to the whole New Rockstars team, both everyone on camera and off camera, and Sam and Mod as well. Mod couldn't be here today. And to everyone behind the scenes. You know,
Tommy Bechtold.
Tommy Bechtold is
Off-screen
out there somewhere.
producer.
Off-screen producer.
Devin.
All of our editors. We're like the little operation that could. We could not be more proud of what we do here. But stick around to the end of this episode. We'll have a short, 5-second dance party? So
Yes,
that way
but we cannot use any copyrighted music or this video will be taken down immediately.
So then why 5 seconds then?
Because we are very tired.
Dance party at the end of the episode.
we are.
Yeah. And so we also have a reminder, right, that this is a podcast? Yes,
Yeah,
as
so
well?
the weekly reminder that we are available in audio. That's a good reason to keep our dance party short later. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, the Himalaya app, or anywhere you get your podcasts. And also, by the way, our Game of Thrones feed, it's called Westeros Weekly. That's not just the Westeros Weekly show. That's going to be the actual breakdowns of Game of Thrones that we're going to be doing. That's going to be our Game of Thrones theory videos, all audio versions of that. And here's the crazy thing that we've never done before. The Game of Thrones breakdowns, everything we're doing, you're going to get them earlier on that feed because audio is real easy to put together and video is real hard. Yes. So again, if you want our thoughts on and analysis on Game of Thrones as early as possible, definitely check out that feed. It's called Westeros Weekly, also on Apple Podcasts, also on the Himalaya app, or right here on YouTube, so you don't miss the visual chaos that's going to occur when we try and deliver your Twitter questions by Raven. That is for real.
Yes.
We are trying to make Raven deliver your questions, and it's going to be a mess.
Having birds fly at our heads is not as fun if you're just listening to it. You got to see the panic in our eyes.
Yeah, when they don't like being thrown.
Yeah. Oh, they really don't. They can fly on their own. Okay, well, let's get to today's main topic, Shazam. Shazam opened this weekend, and it's the newest entry to the DCEU. It's starring Zachary Levi. It's directed by David Sandberg, and it's about the teenager Billy Batson who can turn into the adult superhero after receiving powers from the wizard and the Rock of Eternity just by shouting that wizard's name, Shazam! It's kind of like a wish fulfillment story. They've described it as Superman meets Big, and it's getting great reviews. Currently has 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's not an easy feat. And with the exception of Justice League, DC is really having a great run in terms of critical reception. Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and now Shazam, they've all been well received. So I'm curious to know from you guys, what do you think about Shazam, this movie that makes it such a hit?
Well, I mean, you said it in the wish fulfillment, right? It said that it's why, any story about a nerd, I mean, not that this kid's a nerd. I'm just being mean. I'm just going to bully him for a second. This nerd. No, but like a kid seeing the thing that he could become, and then that story of, well, what if it was you, right? And actually, that's a little bit of, not to get too into spoilers here, but the villain side is a little bit also like what if you could become a hero and then you're not allowed to become the hero? It's taken away from you. I think it's really speaking to the fact that our fans, the fans right now, as in fandom, is so obsessed with superheroes that the characters actually are very representative of the fans that are going to watch DC movies. They keep the merchandise, right? It's Marvel fans too. And it's like, yeah, what if we plucked one of you and said, you're good enough to also join the Justice League? I mean, of course, that's something people are going to relate to.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I want to know who those 9% of critics were that did not give it a good review because they're just wrong. I am, by my own accounts, one of the harshest critics of superhero movies, and I absolutely loved this film. And I am not just saying that because I am gainfully employed by DC. I am saying that
You're
because
also saying that because
I am also I am saying it because it was a really, really, really fun watch. I saw it at WonderCon last weekend with a packed house, and man, when the audience gets into it, you have to see this in theaters. This is not wait for it to be on Blu-ray. No. See it in theaters, see it opening weekend, see it second weekend, but see it as soon as you can in theaters. There's so much fun in this movie. I personally like my superhero movies dark.
Yeah.
So for me to enjoy this very, I don't want to say light, but much lighter than, say, like a Nolan Batman movie, kind of fare, I really enjoyed it. And I gotta say, I think the actors were perfectly cast.
Oh, for sure.
Everyone in this movie is perfect for the role they are playing.
Yeah, Adam Brody is in the cast. I'm not going to say exactly what role he plays, but when he shows up, I was like, oh man, that was perfect casting. He is exactly who should play that part.
But on the flip side, the kid, getting the perfect kid actors is hard. It's very difficult for movies, and they nailed it across the board. Darla, just shout out you, perfect casting, and her entire journey throughout the movie is perfect, especially where those kids end up by the end of the film is. I didn't realize how emotional. Emotional makes it sound like I was like crying. I was just like, my heart was warmed by where these kids ended up, specifically Billy and Freddie. Freddie felt like the heart of this movie for me. Like, I mean, Billy's adventure, he's the superhero, so you connect with that and you relate to that and you get excited for him. But Freddie, he's the one that you would be in that point of view in this story. You're the one who has to experience it. You're watching somebody else get to have all the fun. And you could get, like, maybe you get jealous from that. Maybe you support him. Maybe you encourage him to explore more. The exploration of what Shazam can do is one of the best parts of any superhero movie that's come out in like the past 10 years. Honestly, because it was unapologetic. This entire movie it takes so many deep cuts where it's like, even if I sat down and explained them to you now, I don't know if that's even does any justice to how bonkers it is. And bonkers is in the most positive way I can say, because it's just kudos. Kudos DC and kudos David F. Sandberg.
David F. Sandberg, this guy, I think his direction and his ability to balance the tone of this story was really impressive. I've been following this guy for a while because he used to make horror shorts on YouTube.
Lights Out.
He's the guy who made Lights Out, and he directed a lot of shorts with his wife Lotta, and she's actually, I believe she makes a cameo in this film. And he's such an impressive horror director. He made the film version of Lights Out. He directed one of the Annabelle movies. There's also a little Annabelle Easter egg if you were looking closely. This movie was scary. There's a lot of like interesting jump scares.
For sure. I mean, the villains like are like, not only are they scary to look at, like they're great. There's really great design in them, but they're like about like the deep human sins and flaws that we all have deep down, which is so much like deeper than I also was in that gamma ray accident, and I'm here for revenge.
Right. Yeah. Well, what this reminded me of is, I was telling you about this, Sam, before that we taped. It reminded me a lot of Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man film, and maybe the second Spider-Man film, where they also took another horror director who's better known for his horror work, gave him a superhero origin story, and he kind of leaned into the zaniness of the story and didn't really make fun of it. And it felt like kind of a fresh throwback feel watching Shazam, because now everyone's so post everything, and everyone has to comment on everything. And as soon as Deadpool arrived, you just kind of broke all superhero movies in a good way. But it was nice to kind of like go back and believe in a superhero story again and feel like a kid again.
I really like when you go through a story that we've seen before and you find one part of it that hasn't really been explored and you kind of stay there for a second. That's where this movie takes place. You brought up Spider-Man. I think this movie is kind of like, what if you were Spider-Man? What if you were Peter Parker's roommate or something? You were on the same field trip. you're there, you put your hand in the same spot, and then you move it away just before the radioactive spider goes, and then, the radioactive spider bites Peter, but then you see he becomes Spider-Man because of that, and then even though it's like, oh no, he has that one night where he gets really sweaty and he feels sick, and then he's like ripped after that. he's like swinging around town. He's funnier, I think.
He's a great dancer.
Yeah, he becomes a very good dancer, and then you're
Iconic.
just like, and my hand was right there, and like, it's not only like, oh man, that job should be mine. It's like, I could have been more than human if I had just like left my hand there. And this story just stays right there with like just all the different ways that plays out, both with characters, good characters that are kind of like, man, I kind of wish it was me, and then characters that take that to the extreme where it's like, it must be me, it should have been me.
Yeah. And this is like adapted from the New 52 Shazam like backup story for like the Justice League, and I think that's like great. It was such a good like the good way to condense a lot of the weirdness from Shazam, but also kind of have a new take with it, because Billy back in the 40s was just a kid who got to, it was wish fulfillment. It's great. New 52, they were like, what if we had like a little bit of an edge to Billy? And personally, I was like, that's okay. It wasn't my favorite aspect of it, of how he ends up getting his abilities. And in this movie, I was like, that's a perfect reason for him to get the abilities. Like, the reason why he becomes Shazam over anybody else is my favorite reason, where it's like, it's a roll of the dice, really. It's all up in the air.
Shot.
You're our best shot, and honestly, I don't have enough time to think about it. I'm like, wow, that might be the most relatable part of this movie. And there are so many solid digs at like superhero movies in general, but they're done with a way that's like, it's more of a dig at the villain than it is at the hero. And I had a lot of fun with that. And the character design, the CG is top notch in this, and I love the way that they built out families in other superhero movies, but the family in this movie feels just true. I love big props to the kids, but also the foster parents. They felt
so sweet
because they didn't feel like, oh, we're a big family. Come on, you got to come do this thing with us. It was like, no, it felt more like you're joining a team, and I like that feeling where it was just like, no, I get it. We were you. We know we can't understand you, like your specific situation, but we understand your general emotional well-being right now, and we will let you figure that out, but also we'll call you on it too. I love it. There's so many elements in this that just make it feel like it works in the real world, but at the same time, there are people saying magic words and they're turning into action figures. So.
Well, it's funny. The movie is very light that way, but something you just said, Sam, triggered me, and we'll talk about it later. Reminded me that it actually is asking like a pretty deep question, because of this idea of selecting who should be the rightful heir to the Shazam powers. This idea of, it's got to be someone of a certain purity and perfect, and that's something we build up our heroes, right? A hero can only be someone who is pure of heart, or has like the best intentions, who is without sin, and that's kind of very Clark Kent, right? Where he had to
Captain America too.
Yeah, they had to be raised in this perfect way, and it's like there's so few people that could be that. And this movie asks, or if we trusted someone and we gave them the opportunity, could they step up to that and become the hero that we need them to be? Which is like really like optimistic, honestly. It's like a nice story that, a lot of times I think people feel like, you've made some mistakes, or like maybe, there's a certain life that isn't there for you. And it's like, well, no, maybe there still could be, if you were given the opportunity.
And the training montage is amazing, and also just seeing how Billy would honestly behave with these abilities. It's like, because I would do the same thing right now.
Yeah,
I would,
at this age.
Why in the world?
I don't need to be a teenager.
Like, why would in the world would I go to work? I would do this. I would not have a normal life. I would choose to be Shazam.
Fun casting things. So Dr. Savannah, played brilliantly by Mark Strong. His father in the movie is played by John Glover.
The man.
And
who we all remember
from Batman and Robin. As I can't believe I'm blanking on his character's name, but he's
the guy Poison Ivy's
boss.
Right.
He
He has been playing the same role for 50,000 years.
For DC.
Yeah.
Hey, he was best
Lionel
casting.
Luthor.
Best casting in Smallville. Honestly, when they took him off the show, spoilers for that show, I was super bummed.
Does he have in his contract that I will only play like DC villains?
DC billionaires.
Yes. Hey, shout out to him and for not really aging a lot in that movie. Yeah. His son, not so good.
Yeah.
He didn't drink enough water.
No, he had a great 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
He looked terrific.
$1 billion will do that.
Yeah, no, Mark Strong really killed it. As soon as they said he was the villain, I'm like, oh my God, I don't care. I don't care what you even give him to say because I'm gonna be intimidated immediately.
You know what's fun about Mark Strong is that for some reason in my head, like, I'm not always good with I don't know, keeping people separate. I keep switching him with from Devil Wears Prada.
Oh, Stanley Tucci?
Stanley Tucci.
Oh.
And it's like so in my head when I heard Mark Strong was gonna play the villain, I was like, Stanley Tucci, huh?
I think the way Stanley Tucci taught high school English, Mark Strong was the gym coach.
Yeah.
In my head. That's what I see.
or like
just the same person, they just taught different.
Yeah, exactly.
different classes.
It's a nature versus nurture experiment.
Right, yes. Like Mark Strong will throw a kickball at you if you don't let's tag back in.
Yeah, well, if you give one kid the name Strong and one kid the name Tucci, let's see how that works out.
I can't wait to see Shazam play around with more DC characters. The ones we have now, Aquaman, I want to see him play around with Ezra Miller's Flash. Honestly,
we'll see.
I'm on board. We'll see, but honestly, I'm on board with.
Yeah,
I
not that we
see,
disagree. We're talking about the news.
We're worried that he may not still be attached, but we don't know yet.
We don't know, But as we know right now, like mainly, my favorite part of Justice League was Ray Fisher's Cyborg, and I want also, since it was like his first like big movie, I'm like, give him another shot, guys. Like, bring him back. And also in the comics, Shazam and Cyborg as like the younger members kind of have a rapport, and I'm like, that sounds cool. I would really like to see that. So,
well, there's a lot of good things to talk about with Shazam, and we have to move on. But let us know down in the comments below what your favorite part of the movie was, and we'll be doing more and more videos about it. Hopefully, a post-credit scene breakdown is up on the channel now, and we'll have a big Easter egg breakdown coming out next week because there were a lot, many DCEU Easter eggs.
And not DC.
And there's all kinds of interesting details that I look forward to rewatching it. But now comes the time for a trivia question. And Philip, you're going to be asking it this week. Yes.
All right. Moving on to this week's trivia question. So remember, the stakes of this are life or death. You're new here, but this could be your last day. So
probably will
hope
be.
You've settled your affairs.
Oh, thank you.
I'll hand out our index cards, and you guys can get some pens, and you guys can play along at home. The winner here gets to take one of our lives. All right. Great. In the 1988 movie Big, Tom Hanks and his friend sing a little ditty called Down, Down, Baby, or the ice cream song. Finish this line from the song. I'm cool, I'm hot, blank.
Okay, all of our answers are here in the trivia box. At the end of the episode, we will reveal the answer. The loser, as always, will suffer some horrible fate.
Yes.
As always.
I'm feeling pretty confident.
But Sam, what have you heard this week?
Oh, buckle up, kids, because we got a new Avengers Endgame spot that dropped yesterday, and it's got a few new shots, including a shot of Erik Selvig, the scientist from the horror movies, played by Stellan Skarsgård, listed as missing. Oh no,
my God.
not Stellan. No. This seems to suggest that he is among the dusted. Oh no. But that would totally negate the Infinity War tie-in book where he and Darcy Lewis tried to figure out what caused the snap, which is now being referred to as the decimation. But it also blows up a lot of Avengers Endgame fan theories, so hold on for just a second, gang, because it's going to get rough. A lot of people thought his notes from Thor the Dark World might be the key to the time travel or alternate reality hopping that the Avengers will need to do to defeat Thanos and bring everybody back. So, assuming that the MCU isn't contradicting itself, where do you think Selvig could be? And could his imaginative approach to theoretical physics and end up playing a role as scientists like Stark and Banner devise a way to defeat Thanos? Do you think it's going to be involved in some way, and where could he be?
Well, here's the deal. So that board where they saw all the faces of like missing, like everyone's just assuming, it means he's dead. It means he's dusted. Well, I mean, Scott Lang shows up on that board too, and they just don't know where he is. He's trapped in the quantum realm.
I mean, it's chaos. The world is in chaos.
They're still figuring out where everybody is. This is like everyone's phones are dead after a busy concert, and everyone's just trying to figure out where everyone is.
That's about as significant as what the snap was.
Yeah, it's worse. Even worse.
It's a light power outage.
Now, we did a whole video breaking down that chalkboard, and you can find all kinds of fun Easter eggs. I think the set designers are just like, we're going to put in every possible theoretical physics term. Like, I think there's a Schrodinger reference in there. They have like the 9 different
Peanuts?
realms. The fault, the crossroads, lots of stuff implying like alternate and parallel realities. I don't think he'll be part of the story. Just if I'm thinking like, how they're probably going to lay out and map out the story for Endgame. I would be surprised. I'm not ruling it out, but I would be surprised if he plays a huge role in cracking the code.
I mean, he could be the one that saves us all, right?
Hey, you never know.
Yeah.
Honestly, he could have just made his way over to that bathhouse where Thor had the vision about all the Infinity Stones. Remember that one?
The Turkish bathhouse?
Yeah, he went there. He's like, if Thor was able to figure out the plot of the next 9 movies, I could probably do that too. So maybe he's over there taking a little bath.
But so it sounds like you guys are both on the side of missing, right?
Yeah, I don't think he's dead.
Or hiding. Maybe
that'd be really lame.
Well, no, not like
maybe.
I'm so scared, but more like I'm the one that could figure this all out. So it's very important that no one can find me
on a weekend retreat up in a cabin. Really, I want to get away for a
yeah,
second.
He's on a world saving retreat, just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
I work for DC, not Marvel, so I have no problem spoiling Marvel properties.
There you go.
And I actually know the answer to this.
Oh.
So I'm gonna spoiler alert. He is in Talladega, Alabama.
Go on.
Because he knew stuff was going down, and he was like, I probably only have days to live, so I want each day to feel like an eternity. Mm-hmm. So he just went to Talladega, Alabama, where each day feels like an eternity.
Shout out to our fans.
Shout out to Talladega, Alabama. See you at the Walmart. Right next to the McDonald's.
Tell me that watching those fast cars go in circles all day doesn't feel like a minute has gone by?
Yeah.
Yeah,
what up?
Drive so fast, though.
What up, Holiday Inn Express?
Woo! I have to know what Talladega did to you.
It's just there's a Piggly Wiggly,
and that's all that I need
and
to
a
say.
Walmart,
Yeah.
and a slow decline into death.
Wow. It does sound like the perfect retreat.
Yeah.
That's where he went. That's
Erik
my point. That's where the
Selvig.
man is.
And the mayor of Talladega.
I looked into this whole Cosmic Quest book that Selvig is in that is supposedly canon because a lot of the tie-in books and tie-in comic series are supposed to be canon, but it's more of like a youth literature book. It's a YA novel. It feels like because it's like kind of a kid story.
You
it's
mean
not
like
these
all of these
stories
things?
based on comics? Are not kids' stories.
All these adult themes.
But it feels like it's not. He's probably not dead. They go on an adventure and it's after the snap and they're trying to figure out what happened to the world, and they are able to figure out what the stones are. And I think Selvig actually sees Thanos in the story. So,
Yeah.
But
Where? At the Piggly Wiggly?
Yeah, at the Walmart.
Got deals.
Well, they have thick pants there. To answer the question though, I think that theoretical physics absolutely could play a role in how they save the day.
Yeah.
I think, who knows, maybe even Erik Selvig's notes can be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that means that Erik Selvig needs to be part of the movie.
He's
They
not
have
getting-
so many of the top scientists in the universe, just like in their contacts list. I think they're fine.
I think we will get a Schrodinger reference in Endgame. I'm going to put that out there right now. I think we're going to get a reference to the cat or cats both dead and alive in a box, and maybe someone will say, English, please, and then we'll move on from it. But I think we'll get a
Like,
reference.
this wasn't English. Get
And
out.
then someone
Get
does,
out of here, Hawkeye.
Someone does time travel and someone grabs a piece of paper, folds it, shoves a pencil through it.
Does that answer your question?
What about Schrodinger's Flurkin?
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
that's got to be a joke.
That's got to be a joke.
Happen.
It's gotta
Doesn't
happen.
We'll be furious. And we'll quit.
Yeah.
We'll walk right out of it 2 hours into the 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there was some other news that came out this week, Philip,
yes,
that
of
you.
Yeah,
had some
so I was
thoughts
gonna.
about.
I mean, I made you guys all watch it before we started because I was obsessed with it. The new Joker trailer dropped. So this is for the version starring Joaquin Phoenix and directed by Todd Phillips, and I thought it was really dang good.
Yeah.
I was like genuinely surprised. I don't like anything. Sam did a breakdown for us for it, and a lot of people have this conspiracy theory about why Erik didn't do that breakdown, and it's all true. All of
It has to be.
It's like they didn't see another video that came out 3 hours before that I'm in. They can't.
Yeah.
They can't just put two and two together.
You got sick once. It happened. All right. So what I thought was really interesting though is that we were all like. We were just seeing these leaked set photos, right? And we were like, this movie looks kind of silly. Like he has to chase his nose down the street or whatever. Like I don't know. It just obviously maybe that's why we shouldn't look at things that they don't want us to look at.
Yes.
But then once they did this, it like totally shocked me that it had this energy of Il Pagliacci.
Yes.
The Italian opera. It's a story of the sad clown. It's basically the clown tragedy. A lot of the artwork is inspired by that idea. And then it also really reminded me of that episode of Seinfeld about that clown that kind of like loses his mind and like terrorizes the characters.
Oh, and he keeps showing up and stalking them.
Yeah, exactly. Which I want one of our fans to create a mashup of the trailer and the Seinfeld episode. But what my question is for you guys is, this is the first time they're probably like, okay, this is our movie. Now judge it. So go ahead, judge it. What's this trailer doing for you? How do you feel about this movie?
It's honestly, it was super cool. Just like as a DC fan, it was cool that there weren't any other studio logos except for DC at the end. And I was like, oh, they're doing like a Marvel thing now. That makes me excited. That's like, or like Marvel Studios doesn't have like a Disney logo that starts in the beginning. It's just Marvel Studios. Like this is just DC. Not yet. Give it a couple time. Give it a little time. But no, after this trailer, I think I was just on the fence. You guys could correct me if I've ever said that. I'm like, an origin movie for the Joker just isn't my cup of tea. But honestly, like
I've said that.
I get people being hesitant because he's also a mass murderer. So the journey of that character could be a little harrowing by the end, but also that's pretty intriguing. And what Todd Phillips wants to build here, I do find super interesting. And I think you just kind of nailed it when you got Joaquin Phoenix, because immediately I'm interested. Like immediately I'm going to see the movie just on the basis of him being in it, and his physicality in it makes me feel upset.
That stomach
a little
thing
bit.
that he's doing. Apparently, I learned this from my therapist recently. Pulling your stomach like deep in and holding it like tight is like one of the most like distracting things you can do. Like your mind starts to like kind of freak out. You have so many nerve endings in your stomach. We can all try it. You can try it at home, or Eric does it all episode long.
How long have I been out?
What day is it? Every video you see. All right, but something you just said just was really interesting to me. This idea that we have complained in the past, like, do we want to know the story of someone becoming a mass murderer, and do we want to potentially even sympathize with them? And something that I noticed is that it looks like there's a potential love interest in the story, and I think that's a great way to take that story. Is okay, maybe it's not so much of us feeling bad for him, it's someone we can actually relate to in a different way, and like the stakes are for her that to maybe be his last chance at not becoming that, and the inevitable sadness that she's going to be stricken with when he, or worse, when he turns anyway.
Yeah, I am unable to give credit because I saw this as a meme on the interwebs, but I saw this yesterday and I thought this is perfect, and it was like Joker 1989. I don't know, just drop him in a vat of acid. Joker 2019. I don't know, just drop him into society.
Wow.
And I was like, oh yeah, no, that's absolutely correct. And so, I don't know. So I saw a lot of people complaining like, oh man, you want me to sympathize with this guy now? And I don't necessarily know that. I think it's interesting that people are getting that from the trailer. I will reserve judgment till I see the movie, but maybe we're not asking to sympathize with the Joker. Maybe they're just saying like, hey, this is what made this guy crazy. You don't have to agree with it, but this is the story we're going to tell. And I'm very curious to see that story, even if it's, if there's breaks in reality for the guy. And I expect that there probably will be, but I'm anxious to see it, not because I want to sympathize with potential mass murderers, but it's always interesting. I mean, in our society right now, how obsessed are we as a culture with like serial killers and murderers?
How many true crime podcasts?
Yeah. It's like, no. Here's another documentary about a guy who killed 15 people.
Is it based on all that? Like one person at this table is a serial killer.
100%.
How many?
He's hiding underneath it. He's gonna get one of us.
So I think that this movie is very much of the moment, at least in that trailer. What we saw. Again, I reserve judgment until I see the full movie, but I'm very excited about it. And let's just hypothesize this. Maybe this isn't a universe where the Joker is a mass murderer. Maybe this is a universe where it's just a guy pushed to his own limits, and then maybe it involves killing, maybe it doesn't, maybe any killing he does is justifiable.
Right.
And then that's it. We're going to get a different kind of Joker than the one we've had before.
That's a
because
good
you could
point.
certainly say Heath Ledger's Joker was not Cesar Romero's Joker. You know, very different Jokers. So, I mean, we are 11 years away from Heath Ledger's Joker now. So it's entirely possible that this is just a totally different take on the character, and I'm very curious to see what it is.
Yeah, already it feels like it's different than the Joker that we know, because the Joker that we know doesn't have a clear past. You know, I believe that the version that Heath Ledger's went with. Heath Ledger had a mysterious, nebulous backstory, and he kept changing his story, and that to me is what the true Joker is. So the fact that we're seeing Arthur Fleck, that's not. It's already an alternate universe Joker,
Right,
and I think a lot of people will see a movie and be like, well, if there's a hero to it, that hero must be presented in a good light. That must be someone we have to root for and identify with. But I'll remind you, there's plenty of like gangster stories. There's plenty of TV series in which we're supposed to see the moral decline. There's plenty of Shakespeare plays in which we're supposed to judge and hate the main character.
Yeah, Breaking Bad is a story where you, over the course of this series, realize, damn, I'm rooting for the bad guy.
Right, and then I think Sopranos is another example before Breaking Bad that, you know, it had the problem in its final season where people felt like, oh, we started to like Tony, but in the final season, David Chase had to specifically do some monstrous things with Tony and make him such a hateable character so that by the end, you wanted to see him die. Like, he had to die for you to go to bed that night, and then, you know, he cut to black, and then we just have to draw our own conclusions. But I think there's a whole side of storytelling where you can have a character you follow the whole time, and it is a judgment. And it seems like this Joker story is borrowing from things like Taxi Driver or things like The King of Comedy, which have been like referenced by the filmmakers as influences. And in both of those stories, you're not supposed to root for the main character. Maybe some deep, dark side of you does, but at the end of the day, you're not supposed to emulate their behavior.
Last thing I'd mention is that with this trailer, you're seeing that it's been expressed that he is a mentally ill man who eventually spirals into this. Whatever version that is, what most people connect to the Joker is that he is a murderer. So that like this mentally ill person is pushed to becoming a murderer and something that is like worshipped because he basically is the start of a movement. And there's a lot of heat around that right now, especially or criticism specifically, like when Split or Glass came out and you're seeing your main antagonist be someone who is mentally ill, and that is the biggest part of his personality based on when you see the trailer. And I think with Split and Glass, you guys can not like those movies for whatever reason. I think that the writers did enough work in that to show that like we're not talking about mental illness. This is a special case where it's supernatural and what is happening to him. It is not a mental illness, and if it is, we're just trying to show that it's okay to go to therapy and get help. I hope that this movie, in a sense, I don't have the same criticisms for this trailer. I just hope that when looking at mental illness in this movie, that we are shown that there are tools for you to go get help and to address those problems. And in his case, it's a special situation, and he is not a monster for having mental illness, but he makes decisions that turn him into a monster.
Right. I hope that it's not that he starts with mental illness and then that just like devolves from there. I think it'd be really interesting if he starts kind of normal, right, relatable where we are, and then we see, is it possible to take your average man and just give him the exact, formula? This happens to him, then this, and it just lines up where it could have been any of us. Could you really push someone so far that they become the disgusting person that sticks two fingers in a kid's mouth?
Yeah, that's a gross
thing because that is so weird.
Yeah. Well, let us know what you thought about the Joker trailer. Is this making you come around on what you worried about, or are you more excited than you were before? But I wanted to run another thing by you guys that I saw this week. We got an update on the new Terminator movie. It's called Terminator Dark Fate. It's starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, former California governor.
Interesting choice.
And once a movie star, why would they cast him in this? Linda Hamilton is back playing Sarah Connor,
and Linda Hamilton,
the heart of the story, some might say. James Cameron is also heavily involved, and remember, so this is the thing with this movie, it's not going to be a sequel to all the franchises. It's only going to be a sequel to Terminator and T2 Judgment Day. So it's resetting the franchise, the events of Terminator 3, Terminator Salvation, and Terminator Genesis,
and Terminator Kids,
and Sarah
Connor Chronicles.
Right. It didn't happen.
Tip your hat to Cersei.
It's all right.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, this week we got some photos of Arnold and Hamilton, Mackenzie Davis, and the rest of the cast, all of whom look very angry, ready to kick our asses. I want to look away, break eye contact. We got an official logo for it of the title. And CinemaCon guests were actually treated to some footage. There was a scene that shows non-human character played by Mackenzie Davis beating up some cops in Mexico City. And there's another scene where Sarah Connor shows up with a bazooka, and they showed a reel with clips of lots of action featuring car explosion. Schwarzenegger is just flexing, I guess. And Sarah Connor dropping the iconic line, "I'll be back," as she blows up a bridge. Don't know why she would say that to the bridge, but
I will fix this. I promise. We will rebuild.
She was saying it to the insurance guys.
Yeah. Now, the director is Tim Miller. This is the guy who directed Deadpool, and he mentioned that the new Terminator we'll meet in this movie can split into two and become twice as deadly.
Wait, what?
Oh boy!
Hold on. He can split it. He can split in two and become twice as deadly.
I guess it's maybe like the T-1000. You know how he could.
Oh, I hope it's
Alex
like that.
Mack
In my
into
head, I was
goo.
thinking of the T-800 machine, but like just like one-legged hopping at you in two different directions.
Or two smaller Terminators.
I guess Chucky Terminators
Little
is
kid
pretty
Terminators.
terrifying.
Well, if they keep dividing, that you could have billions of little tiny Terminators.
Well, I wanted to ask you guys this idea of a whole franchise reset, where you skip certain sequels for whatever reason. It's become kind of a trend lately in a couple different franchises. We saw it with the newest Halloween movie, which assumed that all the other Halloween movies after the first one didn't happen. Yep. And then it's happening with this new Jason Reitman Ghostbusters. He's doing Ghostbusters 3. It's pretending the 2016 Ghostbusters didn't happen. And now with the Terminator movies that's happening, is it allowing for more possibilities to expand a universe, do you think? Do you think this is like cheating? Do you think they should have to reference it?
I mean, Star Wars just pretended the prequels didn't happen, but they didn't officially say
what do you mean
didn't happen.
They didn't reference them too
well,
much.
That's kind of what I mean, is that they were like, look, whatever happened there, just let's not bring it up. They don't they didn't have to go back and say how the hell do we make all the prequel stuff work with the new stuff. They kind of were like, let's just never talk about it again.
Except for Darth Maul coming up in Solo, which I think shocked all of us.
Sure,
And
because it was
the
like
prequels
one
is
character.
and
that,
Leah's dad. Leah's adopted dad.
In
shows
Rogue
up.
One. Yeah, it seems like in the standalone ones, but maybe in the new Star Wars
I guess
trilogy,
I'm saying that was a way to do it. And then there's this other way where no, let's be outright, let's insult them by saying no, you are not part of my world.
Yeah. I mean, I think so long as it's the original creator of it, in this case James Cameron, it's his property that he did the first two. I think really only he's in the driver's seat to make that kind of decision.
But he says that for every one of the movies that he's on board with it.
It is tiring now.
I don't mind it if it results in a cleaner universe for better continued storytelling. And especially in the superhero world, it's easy to just go, all right, those were just Elseworlds movies then. That's fine. We can just have, Bruce Wayne on Mars. That's fine. Or whatever they want to do. So in terms of Ghostbusters, that was kind of an Elseworlds because that was supposedly a different universe than the
That one
Bill
pretended
Murray.
that the other two didn't happen.
Right.
Yeah.
So that one, I don't see really a conflict there. But certainly with Terminator, I mean, they tried retconning it with Terminator Genesis, and so it didn't quite pan out like they'd hoped.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with it. I mean, they Sarah Connor Chronicles retconned Terminator 3.
It's a story about retconning,
Right.
Yeah.
It was a story about it. It was only Terminators 1 and 2 that was building off of. They ignored 3. Salvation sort of incorporated 3.
Yeah.
So this has been both a messy world on screen and a very messy world off screen, with the rights to the Terminator franchise has been a hot topic of contention for many years. So I'm very glad that seems to be settled now. I am a huge Terminator universe fan, so I'm very excited about this. And also, I didn't hate any of the other Terminator movies.
Terminator 3 is much better than people
I
give
think
it
that's
credit for.
That's something that we were talking about earlier, and I mean, we probably just should talk about it now. This idea that I don't hate any of the Terminator movies either, but I know I kind of should sometimes. It's weirdly, I don't know if it's that amazing score, But like as soon as that starts playing, I just get like hyped. Yeah. And then I'm just down with it.
Yeah.
And then later, like maybe a year later or something, I'm like, yeah, it didn't make any sense.
No, but personally, I think the biggest knock to the Terminator movies is every single piece of advertisement. Salvation, the biggest twist that could have happened in that movie with Sam Worthington, is in the trailer. If you had hidden that would have been a great reveal, and I would have been more on board. They ruin Genesis in the trailer. The last trailer that comes out, you're like, it was in the theater, I was watching, I was like, wait, oh my God, I shouldn't be watching this. Like, this is the end of the movie. I am seeing how this movie plays out from start to finish. There's one thing, like some more time travel elements I didn't know were going to happen, but everything else is the same. It is spoiled, and I hate that. I like 3 because I watched it as a kid, and there's some like violence.
Kid?
I watched it as a kid.
What are you, 11? That came out in 03.
No, I'm 16. I was allowed to drive here myself. And I saw it when I was younger, and I enjoyed it for what it was. I can see the criticism. In Salvation, I like because he had Christian Bale. I was on board with it.
I think that's what it is about the Terminator movies. They have this score, and I think the first 2 were so good. It's almost to me like the Aliens franchise. You know, the James Cameron. Well, he did the second one.
I like almost all the
I'll watch all the Aliens.
Yeah.
I'll watch, Alien Covenant. I enjoyed. I like Prometheus. I don't care what rage I'll get. Like, I think I compare the 2 franchises where the first 2 are just so great. I'll stick through all of them.
There's something to be said about the. We're acting like it's a mystery, but it's the character, right? The character of the Terminator, the character. What was the other franchise you just said that you like?
Aliens.
Yeah, the character of these aliens. It's even in Halloween, right? It's these ideas of they're all stories about like the boogeyman, basically. And I mean, for millennia, we keep telling stories about the same characters with slight variations. I think that's maybe why we give it so much wiggle room versus like another story where it's a very specific character that can only be told. For instance, that's why we notice how many times we reboot Spider-Man. Right? It's like that's not the boogeyman story, right? That's like a very specific.
He's a spider.
Story.
He's pretty scary.
Yeah,
and he can boogie. Right? Yeah.
So I think maybe they'll have room forever. That said, I'll still say bringing back Linda Hamilton, which amazing. I'm so excited about. Kind of makes it feel like this is their last chance to start over.
One question for you guys? How do you think they're going to explain why Schwarzenegger is so old? In
Same
this
way
movie?
they
did it
tried
before,
explaining it before.
In Genesis, it was like time travel. He gets old. Yeah, he ages just like
he's
people.
living tissue over a robotic cybernetic
skeleton. Yeah, a cybernetic. Oh, damn it. I can't remember the line either.
But the living tissue continues to age.
Yeah, but weirdly, like a human does.
You
instead
seem
of just
so
peel
confident
off
with
of
that.
Him. Yeah. What it really should do is it should continue to rot.
Yeah, it should.
Which is
Yeah.
kind of what
How's it
age.
living?
Yeah.
How's it living
Not
without a
age.
heart? Okay, well, Sam, there was some other news that came out this week, right?
Non-Terminator news, so buckle up, kids. We heard that David Harbour from Stranger Things has been cast in the Black Widow movie. Very
along
exciting.
with like Rachel Weisz, wasn't she announced to be
It's
part of
up
that
in the
as well?
it's up in the air. They're in the
Interesting.
talks, not
Yeah.
confirmed. David Harbour, as far as we know, is confirmed, so that's very exciting.
I love him.
But we also have a confirmation for Jai Courtney reprising his role as Captain Boomerang in the James Gunn Suicide Squad movie. I really like him in that. I'm
He's
a big
maybe
fan.
one of the best casting
One of the
choices there.
standouts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
sure.
sure.
He has a GoPro on a boomerang that flies around. And rumor has it that James Gunn is currently casting an alien femme fatale character, so that'll be fun as well. I'd throw some aliens in there. Why not?
Gamora.
Also, it just came out today that Kumail Nanjiani is in talks to star in the MCU Eternals movie with Angelina Jolie, which is pretty cool as well.
Man, finally those two get together.
Finally, we've been
Angelina
talking
Jolie
about
and
them for
Kumail
years.
Nanjiani, yeah.
Also, Avengers Endgame tickets went on sale and promptly crashed all ticket sites this week. They set a ton of pre-sale records, and it was real crazy. I waited for 3 hours, but I got the screening I
You got your
wanted, and I
tickets?
wasn't too
Tickets?
close to the
Okay.
screen.
So,
Attaboy.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I got tickets, but I can't even sit with the people I wanted to sit with. It's
Yeah, we're
pretty
in different rows
nightmarish.
with the people I bought them for. But
Exactly.
I'm
we
sitting
got
with like a
him.
random church field trip
Yeah.
group. Who's
I got mine, but they're for 10:30 at night.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
you're
Late
getting
one.
how late. You
Yeah, mine is for the Incredible Hulk. That's all I was able to
wow.
get. Yeah.
got the middle of that marathon that they're doing.
But actually, if you guys had trouble getting tickets, do not worry. We actually got you guys. And this is really exciting for us. This is part of our celebration for having 2 million subscribers. We are actually going to be hosting a special screening of Avengers Endgame on the Friday it comes out, Friday, April 26th, that opening weekend at the world famous El Capitan Theater in Hollywood. It's Disney's official movie theater.
Wow.
It's also going to be totally tricked out for Endgame. Plus, we're not just going to have you guys there and you get to watch the movie. You also get to attend a live taping of this show that we're going to be doing from the El Capitan. And then, what's crazy, we're going to mingle with you guys. Mingling.
Oh,
We're going to mingle. We're going to network. Bring us business cards.
That is way more impressive than I thought you were just going to like Periscope one of the screenings.
Yeah, sir, please stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've asked you once.
No, we're gonna do a meet and greet with you guys there, and then we're gonna have kick-ass guests. We're celeb babies, famous babies. We're going to feed you if you come there. It's going to be a really great time. So all that said, tickets are $75, but just being real honest here, we're not making any money on this thing. You're getting the movie ticket. You're getting the live taping in this special lounge that is a special Disney place. You also nerd out with us in person. We feed you. You will get time to do whatever you want to Erik. It all goes directly to good causes like that. There are, however, only 50 tickets.
Oh, God.
So definitely jump on that as soon as they're available. We're going to announce it across our socials of exactly how to get those tickets. And then, you can fly here, but this is in LA. So, just keep that in mind. If you're like, I got my ticket, I live in Alaska.
There's a youth hostel right walking distance from the El Capitan.
Yes, Sam will meet you there.
I run the hostel.
Yeah, exactly. And he plugs at any chance he can get.
Absolutely. We got beds and pillows and
that's all you need.
one half bathroom.
Oh, a half bath.
You'll be fine.
So if this doesn't sound glamorous enough, remember we're gonna feed you there too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely jump on that. Now it's time to move on to our New Rockstars Debrief lightning round. You guys tweeted us some questions.
Is it raining men?
We're gonna ask them at each other.
yeah.
You got to answer them as quickly and without hesitation as possible. Are we ready?
No.
All right. Starting with for Sam Bashor at Davey Backward Dab. Davey Backward Dab. Yeah, we should know it by now. Who is your second favorite? The whole dang world knows the Flash is here first. Who's your second favorite DC character?
Plastic Man. It's lightning round. Gotta go quick. Dude,
Okay.
Ben Schwartz, please get that role. That'd be amazing.
Great, yeah.
I mean, he's gonna get it, right? He's gonna self-produce it if
He's
he
doing
has
Sonic,
to.
and then he's gonna do Plastic Man. Please.
Yes. For Philip at Sensei_I am, if you could shout out any word to become a superhero, what would that word be? Oh, wow. For Sam, which
That's what
DC
came
hero
out.
is the most overrated and which is the most underrated?
Overrated. None of them? I don't know. The most overrated
Booster Gold, am I right?
Booster Gold. There you go. Perfect answer.
Ted Kord, get him out of here.
The most underrated of the DC universe, the Flash, frankly.
Really?
Yeah, I think Flash does not get the respect Flash deserves.
Yeah.
Flash can travel through time. Okay.
That's pretty impressive.
And universes.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
He doesn't wield it very well, though, those abilities.
Well, it's undervalued because he is not getting the respect he deserves, and he's not chosen not to master it yet.
Yeah.
He'll get there.
Yeah. First you get the respect, then you get the mastery.
Oh, yeah.
Not usually how it works.
That's
Nope.
not usually how it works.
Yes, Sensei.
For me, at Kanashi at Tsudo wants to know, what did you think DC stands for before you knew what it really means? Okay, so when I was a kid, wasn't there like a TV production company called Deke? Like DIC?
DIC, yeah.
I mixed them
No,
in
you're
my head. I'm
absolutely
like,
right.
oh, it's those people
Yeah.
at Deke. They also make comics. Fun. Yeah. I'm an idiot.
I would have assumed it was Dick Clark.
Yeah, Dick Clark. Yeah.
Dick Clark Comics.
Yep.
I thought it was
Counting
Dick.
down. For Sam, at Andy18 wants to know, what less known DC superhero should be brought to life in the DC universe? DC film universe.
I mean, he's not lesser known, but a Lobo on screen would be really cool with the chain. I'm also a bit, I'm a Flash family as well. Do the whole Flash family. I'm big on board with that. Impulse would be fun. If we're going like way down the line, like crazy way down, do new Superman. Is Chinese Superman. He's great. The way he gets his powers and his the Justice League of China is so cool. That comic got ended last year, and I definitely cried just a tiny bit in my room.
Go on.
Okay, for Sam, what other Batman villain, if any, would you like to see in Joker?
Oh man, what Batman villain do I want to see in Joker? I think we're due for a Poison Ivy update. I think that would be a plum roll for any number of great Hollywood actresses. And not to say that Uma Thurman didn't do a great job with it, but that's so far the only Poison Ivy live action we've seen, and I would love to see another Poison Ivy.
A Poison Ivy that doesn't start as a dancing gorilla in one scene.
Oh my
does a
sweet Jesus, yes.
For Philip, a favorite villain. They want one from, and this is CRLS212 wants to know, favorite villain, one from DC and one from Marvel.
Marvel's gonna be Magneto. I love the fact that like Magneto is a result of someone saying, "Oh, this character will have the powers of magnetism," and they were like, "Wait, holy crap, that is huge if you think about it." And then it was. That's awesome. And then also every thing about him is great. DC, it's Mr. Freeze. I just like something about that character.
Animated series episode was awesome.
There's that, and also I just like relate to his like
puns.
I was gonna say like how like kind of like robotic he is, like, but like he's still a human. I don't know.
He's cool.
Yeah.
He's such a tragic character.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
For me, at Prit Atoll wants to know, are Avengers stuck in a time loop? Hell yeah, they are. We got a video coming out on Monday about that. Moving on. Samm Levine. At Mr. Fiesta 27 wants to know, best sidekick and why?
Robin. Yep, it's an easy answer, but
Which one?
Oh, that's a fair question. I want to say Jason Todd, but I think we know how that ends. No, Dick Grayson. I love that story. In Batman 1000, there was a bunch of little shorts, and there's one in there. What's it called? The Precedent, and it's where Alfred has to argue the case for Dick Grayson to Bruce. And I loved that twist on it. Where it's like, no, if we let him go, it could be bad, man. You can connect with this kid better than anyone's going to connect with him. You know what he's going through. And that's why I think Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne work so well together, is because of their shared backstories. And boy wonder, man.
Could you imagine if Bruce Wayne started an orphanage and just created an army of all these orphans?
I feel like the government would be called really quick. But hey,
child army outside Gotham. Okay, for me, Evan and a bunch of numbers wants to know, if you could pick any Justice League member to jump out of the pages of your comic looking for some Erik love, who would it be and why? If that's the case, Diana, Wonder Woman.
Are they demanding Erik love?
Yeah, does that have to be part of it?
Are they giving Erik love?
Yeah, looking for some Erik love. Well, I mean, I'll love any of them to, oh boy. I already love all of them in that way, but yeah, I think both answers in either case would be one of them. Let's just leave it there.
You feel very uncomfortable.
What is Erik love? Let us know in the comments.
Why is that part of it?
But let us know on Wikipedia.
For Bashor, at Catherine Bones wants to know, if you could be Superman for 24 hours, what's the first thing you would do?
Fly to the moon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Fly to the moon.
And do what there?
Superman, All-Star Superman, he and Krypto sit on the moon and they look at Earth, and that comic will make me cry, and it's one of my favorite. It's Frank Wiley's art, and it's absolutely beautiful. Also, I gotta go to the moon. I gotta put my footprint down right next to Buzz's and Neil's.
You don't want to get your ass to Mars?
I don't know if I have it's 24 hours. I don't know how quick I can go. It just depends on what kind of Superman I am.
What kind of Superman do you want to be?
The best one.
And finally, for Philip, at Cheddar Blowout.
Hell yeah. Cheddar Blowout.
Wow, that's a great name.
Yeah, that's the name that a bully gives you when you got a bad haircut, Erik, and then you own that nickname.
No,
I'm son. What happened to your hair?
Cheddar Blowout is someone who ate way too many Cheetos. And like couldn't make it through 12th or 12th period and had to run to the bathroom.
Let us know all the different definitions of Cheddar Blowout on Urban Dictionary.
Okay, Philip, this guy wants to know, what would the name of Thor's and Captain Marvel's hypothetical son be?
Cheddar Blowout.
Yeah, Cheddar Blowout. It's good. Hugh Jackman, maybe. Man, that would be a killer son. Yeah. Danvers.
Yeah. Especially the DC version of Captain Marvel. It's great. Yeah. Great progressive question. And now comes the time for our 15-second shout-outs, where each of us has 15 seconds to shout out, plug, or ramble about anything we want. Sam.
Oh, thank you. Really quick shout out to Might Be Awesome. It's a new YouTube channel that me and my friend DJ launched this week. And oh my God, I've been so stressed. I haven't slept and I have tummy aches that I might need to go to the doctor about because I've been so stressed. But now it launched and it's got a really cool response. It's deep dives, not like them. Don't worry. You get your new Rockstars deep dives here, there, those. We do. We answer like kind of like weird questions and we use 8-bit animations to kind of explain like the bigger concepts. Cool. First one was what happens after the snap. I didn't know they were working on that one when we wrote it, but it's different. We end up in different places. So go check that out.
Different answers you could have to that question,
but only one correct answer.
But go check it out and maybe subscribe and maybe like it and share it. That's how other people see it.
Great. Let's see. I don't really have a particular shout out this week. I will just say go watch Us again because there's so much to that movie. If you haven't seen it already, go check it out. It's a different movie than Get Out is. It's not fair to compare them, but man, there's so many questions that I have coming out of that movie, and every time I rewatch it, I find something new about it. And I would love to do like a whole breakdown of it because there's just so many details and interesting things that Jordan Peele snuck into that.
Cool. I'm going to do 2 quick shout-outs. I always do 2. One, I'm going to say check out the Cobra Kai trailer for Season 2 that just came out. Season 1 is really cool, but I got to do some cool work with the team from Cobra Kai recently. I trained them all. So I'll have more announcements about that, but it's really exciting. The other thing I was going to say, it's a time of year to start wishing happy birthday to Erik. It's, he doesn't like any people knowing the exact details about him, but...
They know everything.
But if you want to start being nice to him on social media, it'd be a good time to start.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And
birthday.
Sam.
Well, as you can see by my vast wealth of DC knowledge, if you want to be as knowledgeable as I am about DC, which is the most knowledgeable, you need to get yourself a subscription to DCUniverse.com, where you can watch me and my cohorts 5 days a week on DC Daily, and you can check out awesome shows like Season 1 of Titans, Season 1 of Doom Patrol. We got Swamp Thing coming up in May. What else do we got? Young Justice Outsiders. Thank you very much. They are adding 20,000 comic books to the library.
It's a few.
That is quite a few. Yeah. So DCUniverse.com, you can get a free week trial, and you're going to love it, and then you're going to get yourself an annual subscription, and you'll thank me later.
All right.
Cool.
Great. Check those out.
Please watch Doom Patrol so I can talk to someone about it. Thank you.
We are now returning to the trivia question that we asked earlier. Philip, if you could remind us what it is.
So that question was, in the 1988 movie Big, Tom Hanks and his friend sing a little ditty called Down Down Baby or The Ice Cream Song. Finish this line from the song. So I'll read the lines from the song, and each of us will go down and just fill in the blank as I say it. Are you ready? We'll start with Sam, who has my answer. All right. I'm cool. I'm hot.
I'm funky, cheesy mold. That's what you wrote.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Oh, I forgot that I tried to rhyme with the word cold, which was not in
cold is not.
I'm cool, I'm hot, I'm funky, cheesy mold.
Yes.
Just not to put a speed bump in there, but mine might not line up with your little cadence.
I like that. All right, ready? So Sam, Erik is going to say Sam's answer. I'm cool, I'm hot.
A picture of Shazam.
No, it's a spider. If it had the chance to turn into Shazam, it has an 8-pack.
You know what? I think that is actually how the rap ends, isn't it?
It's a picture of Shazam. They just hold it up.
They hold it. Yeah, they both.
All right.
Mine is definitely wrong that you're about to read, but it is definitely in the song.
All right. Well, let's hear it. If it's this part, I'm cool. I'm hot. I stole my mama's credit.
That is part of the song.
It is part of the song.
Yes. All right, this is a really funny song. This is weird. All right, and then finally, Erik's answer that Sam's going to read. I'm cool. I'm hot.
Punch me in the stomach one more time.
What is this song?
Like
this
that.
song is so weird.
Wow, I'm feeling...
we can't sing this. We don't have
Spider turns into Shazam.
Yeah.
Well, what's the correct answer?
All right, so finally, the correct answer is I'm cool. I'm hot. Suck you in the stomach 3 more times.
Oh. So close, Erik.
Yeah.
So close.
3 more
I had to
more
learn
times.
the whole thing for a sketch like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I had to I was just doing for that's how I got this job.
Yeah.
He took pity on me.
I may never have even known those were the lyrics.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, everyone knows how it begins. No one knows really how it ends.
Yeah.
I knew nothing.
Well, judges who between me and Sam probably.
Well, so I think that
Yeah,
obviously
It's got to be you.
the best answer or the closest answer is certainly the sock you in the stomach one more time. It's close enough to 3 more times. It's who's the furthest. I stole my mama's credit.
Picture of Shazam.
Yeah.
I'm
funky, cheesy mold.
Picture of a spider that turns
Picture of a spider turning into Shazam.
He's got 8 eyes. He's got 8. Do spiders have 8 eyes?
Well, and remember,
Yes,
some
they
of
have 8 of
some of these answers, just if you'll notice, some of these answers aren't words.
Wait, no, there's a word.
No, some of these answers are a comic book panel.
I'm curious to argue your case. Why is yours closer?
Well, no,
Off-screen producer wants Sam to argue his
actually,
case.
people don't know this, that since Shazam has a lot of pulls from Big actually has some pulls from the original Shazam comic. There is an argument you can make to that. And since
It sounds
they're
like you
kids,
didn't, though.
And they're kids, and what kids wouldn't be fans of Spider-Man? And so what if you could mix Spider-Man and Shazam and say Shazam and turn into the Spider? Oh, man, I'm losing it.
No, I like
but
it.
he
Keep
didn't.
going.
No,
Wait, hold on. To be fair, he tried to rhyme it with cold, and that's not even like in the song.
And yet, but it is something songs do. They don't have pictures.
Yeah.
You know what, though? Cheese goes in your stomach.
And moldy cheese is like getting socked in the stomach.
Oh,
So
you're
it
gonna
sounds
have
like
a,
Sam has.
you know what
Cheese goes in
happens
your
if you eat
stomach.
moldy cheese?
Off-screen
You get
producer-
a cheddar blowout.
All right, so it's been decided. It's gonna be Sam. Sam, this is the last gif of shame in this box right now. So whatever it says, you got to do it, buddy.
I mean, are you guys at least proud of me for my drawing skills? I think it's pretty good.
Oh, always proud of you, son.
Thank you. So I got my gif of shame is it's the claw. Think Jim Carrey and Liar Liar. It attacks. That's a great one.
Okay,
That's
so
a great one
Sam's
to
going
end
to do
on.
that on the GIF of shame. It'll be turned into a GIF. If you are listening to this on podcast form, check us out on social media at New Rockstars, and you can see what the heck we're talking about.
And since we're emptying that GIF of shame box for the moment at least, and we'll bring it back in other ways, give us some ideas for other punishments that will work for the audio podcast version.
Yes.
Since we know GIFs aren't the most fun on podcasts.
What is some embarrassing or goofy or humiliating thing that the loser
works in
of
audio,
the trivia
yeah.
question in audio form?
Yeah,
So
pitch
put
it
a
to us.
blindfold on and brainstorm.
While you're driving.
So as Sam does this, I'll be doing our goodbyes. So Sam, you want to take over with the clock?
Switch over with you.
Great. So, as Sam does that, I will sign us off. Thank you for watching or listening to this week's episode of New Rockstars Debrief. I want to thank our hosts, Sam Bashor at Sam Bashor, Filup Molina at Fimo, me, Erik Voss at Erik Voss, plus special guest Samm Levine at Samm Levine. And a reminder that this episode is available in both audio and video form. The video is at youtube.com/New Rockstars, and you can get the audio anywhere you listen to your podcasts. Oh boy. And if you happen to use the Himalaya app, we'd really actually appreciate if you did that and went and left a comment for us on that podcast that supports the show directly. So comment and tweet at us at New Rockstars, like this video or podcast, share it around, and subscribe to New Rockstars for deep dives into all the stuff you love. Bye-bye, everyone.
The claw wasn't
See you
a
next
face
week.
hugger.
That impregnated your mouth.
Choked, grab the hand.
You like being choked?
I don't like being choked.